We have a very interesting speaker, and he will be presenting a topic which is increasingly relevant in our digital age and shortage of workspace: online security management, innovative automated security. He is a business development manager at Dhoedt, and please join me on the stage, Dhoedt from Netherlands. How are you today?
I'm very fine, but I'm a Belgian guy.
Belgium, sorry, yes.
And never say to a Belgian guy that he's
That's
coming from
a terrible
the Netherlands.
mistake, I'm so
like
sorry.
Like you tell to a Swede that he's from Denmark.
Absolutely, or Latvian from Lithuania,
yeah, well,
or Slovakia and Slovenia.
Whatever.
Yes, that's my fault.
No, it's not your fault.
This is an amazing expert from Belgium.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, good morning. Thank you for accepting us. We are very honored to be here, and we even have the presence of our Canadian ambassador with us, so we will try and make that really very instructive to all of you. I'm going to speak to you about innovation, innovative, automated security management. Yeah? We also could say adaptive or collaborative, because it's all about bringing technology together, but most of all to bring that technology to our operators in such a way that people can use it in a coherent way. Okay? So a number of slides. I don't have too much slides, so that's very important. But first of all, important to know is what are the customer challenges? We have a number of them. First of all, we have the Security Operations Center. That's the place where all that information is coming together. And of course, we also have the commonalities, yep, who are really there. So that's very strange, that's changing here. Important to know there is that we have too much events coming up. That's very important. We have a real lack in time to investigate. Yeah? It's also so that you have no guidance when you have an alarm coming in. So all those elements are really important to know. Yeah? If you don't have a security operations center, well, then you need to go to supervisors. You have to indicate some people about some alarms. Also, that is very difficult. And then, of course, you also have to handle about people who are not on site and alarms and situations are coming out of site. So how do we bring all those elements together? Yeah? And while I'm speaking and while you're trying to read the blue lines, look at those false alarms who are coming into your system. Yeah? This is a real life situation of an operator. He is sitting, he has work to do, but then behind him is all those little alarms who are coming up, who are really infesting the whole system. And even if you try to read it, if you try to be attentive to it, it's just not possible. So we needed to try and to bring some help. Mission control. Mission control is one of the systems we developed around Security Center. Security Center actually is based on 3 pillars. It's video management, yeah? It's number plate recognition, and it's access control. Those are the 3 main security systems you have in place to control access, yeah? Also to control who and when you are on site, and to look back at what you could do. Next to that, you have another of embedded systems that are in place. And those systems can be of exterior part or can be own developed systems. Yep. Once you have all those elements in place, well, at that moment, you will have elements coming out of it. It's not always an alarm. It can also be some messages. Yeah? Now, in bringing those messages together, yeah, we did develop, and that was asked to us very specifically by an airport, we have put together a system so that we will help to define and catalogize all those different messages and alarms, and also to bring awareness and some automated solutions into it. So it's embedded within the security center, that's important. It's a license, as you have on the others. It will listen really to all the events and all the noise you have behind it. And of course, the whole system is also adaptive. Yeah? It will grow and learn as you move. Yeah? It is very important to have that also on-site and off-site, as I said so. So we have also a mobile app who will enable you to take that. So it's very important to know that you have all those embedded systems, what we call unification, and around that we then have an innovative, adaptive model so that we will help you, the operator, to work coherently into his mission control system. What does it do? It does three things. It's about qualification, automation, and guidance. In short, the qualification is just getting all the alarms, and we will put them under a number of catalogations that we did put in place. All those elements are really developed and put in place by yourself. So we will collect and analyze those data. We will remove the noise, so multiple alarms from the same sensor, for instance. And we will, of course, qualify. Next to that, we have automation. Automation is about reacting automatically to situations. How do we do that? We will create rules, so that if one or two or three situations occur in the same time, well, at that moment you will fall into a situation, the if-then-else rule, as we all know. So it will automate a number of tasks, so it could send out an SMS, it could trigger an alarm, it could do a number of things. Again, all those elements, it's yourself, your operator, and together with your security responsibles who will put it in place. And of course, it will work in tandem with your security operations center. After we have all those alarms into our catalog, we know what there are, we had all the noise out. At that moment, we have now a very clear view of what are the real alarms we have to handle. At that moment, we go into the guidance part of our presentation. The guidance is not only bringing out alert, but it's also about taking control. It's not the system who will take all the decisions. He will help you to bring all the information together so that you can give an accurate solution, but it will be in a cooperative way. So we have standard operating procedures in place. Those are the different parameters you put up. And of course, we will then do some investigation and reporting around the system. If you go more into detail in those three different categories, it's about collecting and analyzing. So there we are going to put on rules based on events. We will combine multiple events, so that multiple events can come together in one bigger, clear view of what we have. And of course, we will then also analyze collaborative events that are coming onto it. So because one event, if one fire detector goes off, at that moment we can have a look with the camera to see, do we see the fire, yes or no? If we see the fire, we can check into that room, do we have people in the room, yes or no? So all those elements are bringing together so that we can take a very clear action. Very important. Secondly, it's about reacting. So reacting, as I said already before, it's about sending an email, it's about setting off an alarm, it's about whatever kind of information you want. It's also internally sending out a number of internal calls to a number of people. It's really putting an event in place based on the alarms that you received. And of course, very important is that we also can steer some public addressing, we can run macros, and of course we can change threat levels into the system. Once you have all those messages out, at that moment, it's time for us to take control of the system. So situational awareness, we are going to prioritize our different alarms that we are going up. And of course, we are going to work around standard operating procedures that we did put in place. Document management, very important, because we will also be able to report back and document on all the events that occurred during the day. We can call to action, but call to action on a personal level or on an automated level. And of course, then we have those collaborative incidents that we can handle. An example of that is a power plant where very clearly you have a number of systems in place. And if you are typically looking at that power plant, it's in France, I think, they receive up to 700 alarms of the LiDAR radar system a day. They have on security and identification management, they have up to 200 to 300 different alarms a day. And just around the mission control, all the other sensors that we put in place, they have another of 3 to 4 incidents a day. If you see that number of alarms, and that only on one side, you understand that it's important for us to be able to filter the noise, to get to the real alarm situations and to bring in procedures so that you and your operating staff can really be very effective into the field. It's important for us that we give you that information. And very clearly, we have to think about the operators, because the people who are working with the system are actually the most important people. So first of all, we have to do with alarm fatigue. So alarm fatigue is really somebody who is sitting behind a number of control screens and who receives all those different type of alarms. Well, 90% of his time can be linked to false alarms. 65% only has a chance of being investigated. And 79% of our operating and security staff is just overwhelmed. So those people are getting so many information a day that they are really getting out of touch with the real alarms. So they are sometimes just looking at a whole forest, but they don't see the trees anymore. So that's very important. Secondly, we have the information overload. So information is really coming in. And the more and more systems we are bringing out, and we do it all. We have cameras, then we have access control, then we are going to control on the number plate, then we will put some radars out, then we have some drones in the air, then we have some fencing, as you can see here also, where some animals could touch or something could go wrong. So we have really a lot of information that we have to work with. We also have to understand that within a single security operating control room, you have, on an average, 20 different systems running. So it is not possible for an operating people to have all that knowledge in place, to be able to be trained on an accurate way, also to be able to have a fulfillment of people into your operating center. Because if you want to handle a 24-on-24 operation, well, you need 4 to 5 people in a team just to have one full-time equivalent into an operating center. So that's very important. And then you have, of course, all those different technologies that are in place and that will help it. So staffing and training is really a very important point. We all know that in the market of guarding, of operators that we are using, you have a lot of turnover in the people. So meaning that we need to train and form those people all the time around. This is also a very important task. And the more different systems you put in place, well, the more difficult it will become, the more fatigue you will create to the people, and the more administrative actions people will have to do instead of concentrating on their job. And that's important to say. An operator is there to react on situations that arise. He's not there to fulfill a number of administrative tasks. And if you look at it today, we have more and more administrative tasks in place, but I will come to that a bit later. So it's also true that, maybe not here, but I think the whole Baltics are important. We have also mixed languages. We have mixed technology of people that they know. So it's also important to know that we don't have always the same personality in front of us. We can have technicians, we can have just operators, we can have old police people, we can have even administrative people who get into the job. So we have also to be clear that we give a training and that we give a system for them to use that is adequate to all of them. And here we are coming, it's the regulatory, that's a difficult word, regulatory compliance. And that regulatory compliance is really all about the administrative rules that you have to fulfill. And if you look at it today, certainly with GDPR in place, certainly cybersecurity is always behind our back door. Well, more and more we are asked to tread carefully. We are asked to have a reporting in place. We are asked to follow certain procedures. We are asked to put out reports afterwards, legally or not. And those legal reports, they are changing all the time. So again here, one person could help in creating all those different documents within our collaborative security system, and at that moment we will make sure that the operator has more time to concentrate on his real job, and we will assist him in making sure that the whole administrative rules will be followed afterwards. Very clearly, if you're looking at a monitor, well, you will see a screen like that. It's about, and what is that information giving to you? It's giving you a situation. It's giving you an overall view on the site or the elements that you have to look at. It's not always a site, can also be a technical room. And then you have a number of alarms coming out. And those alarms are really identified. And we are bringing all those different alarms together in one and the same system. So the operator has one screen in front of him. All the false alarms will have been filtered, but still we will have a reporting opportunity on all those false alarms. But he will receive a very crystal clear information where you have the whole site, where you have the different alarm situations that are occurring, where you have the hotspots of your building, and then you have a number of actions. As you can see, on top right, you have a door forced, followed by a motion detector. So not only is it a door that has been opened, but you could also see into the corridor that somebody entered. So you have already a combination of a number of alarms who are really bringing you into a situation that maybe you have to check. Has this been granted? Is the card holder the right person? Do I have to do an additional check? So important to know that all those 20 different technologies are behind that one screen. And that's important. You don't have to jump from one screen to the other. Another element is of an incident reporting. Again, we are talking about access control. Here again, you will see somebody is batching, same moment we are taking a picture. Somebody in the control room can also check if that person is the guy who is really on the picture, but we can also connect it to your car. So at that moment, when you get onto the premise, we can check already the car. Okay, the car is connected to your identification. If your car is connected, okay, you can let in the car, and then you can already facilitate the people who are coming on board. If you have a visitor connected to that person, well, you can already assist him into saying, okay, the visitor has arrived or not. If the visitor has arrived, at that moment you can change his model of working, that each time the visitor opens the door, you have to do a control to make sure that you go along with him, that only he goes in. And then, of course, in the very end, it's very important for us to have a real reporting. And reporting is not only about the legal documents that I talked about, it's also about statistics. And here again, we have a very open statistical report system who will help you to create all the statistics you need on what are my different alarms, in which categorization do I have them, how can I optimate my number of alarms, how do I better my daily work, how do I better our daily operation. And that's about what is important for us. And in the end, of course, you have your incident stats on whatever you did, okay, is an incident is closed, okay, how many calls, how many actions, how many time, all those information will come to you. The only information that remains to me is to say that people are important, but we need to help people to handle all the different technologies that we are putting in place. This can only be done if you have embedded, unified systems. If you have all those separate systems coming apart with all those different alarms, at that moment, your operators, your security people, your operation people will get overwhelmed by the information they have to handle, and at that moment, we will not be able to help him. So all about mission control is about helping our staff to do a better job. And I think that's about my last slide. Only some takeaways is, of course, that we have to reduce the noise, get all those false alarms out, or double alarms, very important. Secondly, we have to automate tasks, so we have to think once in the beginning how to set up those different rules. And once we did that, at that moment we can go further and respond with confidence. But confidence and awareness, that's really important in that system. And last of all, know that the systems that we put in place today are learning, together with your experience. I know artificial intelligence is very important and everybody is talking about, but here again, it's just having those statistics coming out, knowing how many alarms, on how many alarms can one operator react, and all bringing all those elements together so that you could work. And actually, it's already the last slide of my presentation of today. So I started a bit earlier, but so I'm finishing a bit earlier also. I thank you. I don't have questions on that slide, but if ever you have a question, you can come, you can ask it now, or you can come to our booth who are just in the back of the stage here, and we will be there the whole day, and we even have people with us who can answer to the questions. So that's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick Dhoedt from Belgium.
Yes.
And it was a great presentation, but good takeaways and good points. But
yes.
Maybe there are questions from the audience. We have a possibility to answer them now from the stage if you want. Are there any questions? No, because everyone knows there will be lunch and a coffee break, and you're very welcome to ask questions to any of the speakers.
Yes.
Because this event, as mentioned, Carl is already mentioned in the beginning, this is about making new contacts, a new community of security. So this is a good idea to come and ask Nick anything that he didn't tell about drones, for example. It was very exciting.
And if I don't know it, I know people who know.
That's a very good answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's make a photo.
Okay, I will put that here.
A round of applause again for the presentation. Thank you.